You're listening to the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show with your host, Coach Tim Campsall, where we talk with successful business owners to hear the stories of their journeys in building their successful businesses. And more importantly, we recognize the folks who help them excel because we know that achieving business success is not something we can do on our own.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Indiana with us today. My guest was an adjunct professor at Anderson for over a decade after completing his MBA. In his downtime, he enjoys reading nonfiction that focuses on financial history and education, and he's most proud of his Christian faith and the ability that he has to help the underserved. We're going to have him tell us a little bit more about that here in a minute. It's my pleasure to welcome August to the show today. Hello, August.
Hi, Tim. How you doing?
I'm awesome, thank you. Well, hey, let's jump in and start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live and about your family and some of those hobbies.
Well, I am a born Hoosier, so I'm from Indiana. I'm originally from northern India, up by Chicago, about 45 minutes south of South Bend or Notre Dame. Grew up a Notre Dame fan, grew up a Chicago Cubs fan, just pretty much up in the region there. Went to school at Ball State, did my undergraduate, university that David Letterman made famous, and then got a master's from Anderson University, and they're associated with the Church of God. But after I got my master's, I taught in the MBA program for like you mentioned, over a decade in the business development, business formation, marketing management, and then been married 39 years. I have 3 kids in their 30s, and I am not 60 yet, so started young.
Well, congratulations, 39 years. That's impressive. Yeah. And I cut you off. Did you say 3 kids?
I have 3 children. Yeah, 2 boys and a girl.
Fantastic. And what's your wife's name?
My wife's name's Kathy.
Kathy, wonderful. Is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share with us today?
You know, humor is a weird thing, and for you got to remember my kids are in their 30s, and I can remember when they were younger that I would not watch I Love Lucy. And you know, it depends on if you like scary movies or if you like sarcasm type shows, which we have quite a few of those today. But I could not stand to watch the comedy of Trouble. I just, you know, anything that's predictable trouble, I just wanted to avoid there. And but I get a lot of razzing about not being able to watch I Love Lucy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
August, tell us, how did business come about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
So I have been a professional employee my entire career, and I actually, my siblings and my family are self-employed, and my dad was in business for 42 years. But I chose the path of professional management or professional employee, and so I worked for technology companies my entire career. My last stint was with a state network, which was funded by about 20 telephone companies here in Indiana. And I could retire at 55. And for those in the telecom industry, I'm an NTCA pensioner. And I said, you know what, I'm going to read for 8 hours a day, and I'm going to enjoy next phase. My kids are off the payroll, and what I found is I couldn't do that. I could only read about 4 hours a day. And some of those companies I worked for came back and said, hey, would you do some projects for us? So it started small, and then over the course of 12 months, I actually had 6 or 7 companies, and we can talk a little bit about telecom, but telecom's going through a tremendous amount of expansion in fiber broadband. And so with my academic background in writing business plans, I was writing business plans for bankers and people that actually need to document it. So it's grew out of that.
Fantastic. And so you said that some of your family members were in business. So did they encourage and support you in this new endeavor?
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, we typically talked about what we were doing in our professional careers, but they were shocked that I didn't start a business earlier. And it was mainly because I wanted the balance. If I'm probably a very balanced person, I have if I had to say anything, the success of being a parent and being there for my kids was probably bigger than trying to make a buck or owning a business earlier in life. But it just transitioned to something that grew, it organically grew.
So tell us a little bit more about the company. What's the name? What do you guys do? How do you help folks?
So the name of the company is Mytra Consulting, and the spin is it's my transition. So it's Mytra. So it's my transition to retirement. And at the same time, the spin is if companies need help with transitioning, we're very focused on the CEO or senior leadership, so we can help people transition into the next level. So if you're going from a bud to boss or something like that. But what we do is we offer consulting opportunities as a side gig for semi-retired or seasoned people that want to make professional rates, and they can help company in their domain of expertise.
Fantastic. And is it national, international, regional? Where's your focus?
So I actually have been very fortunate that even though I haven't traveled international, domestically, I've worked for East Coast, West Coast companies in my career. And so this last opportunity worked primarily in the Midwest, and we would work with state networks that were associated with us. But the company actually had a financial investment in a national carrier, and they operated in 37 states. So I actually had a little bit of exposure to these state networks, and I actually do state network business formation, where if they're a state that doesn't have a state network, like New Mexico, we can actually help do a little bit of formation there and help the phone companies get organized. But a little bit more on what we do is we do strategic planning, we do business development, we do leadership development, we do change management. But what's nice about this is we have little to no risk because we are semi-retired. I do have our president is actually a full-time employee today that's working as a day job, but most of us want to work 20, 30 hours, but we still want to be very focused in what our offering is to the clients.
Yeah. And is there a certain type of client or size of company that is ideal for you?
Yeah, we're I don't want to limit us, but we've written business plans where we went after $100 million grant, but most of the organizations have assets of less than 75 million. So we'll work with anybody that can afford us, first of all, but primarily we're in this small, medium business, and we'll work with either entrepreneurs that need some help, or we'll work with a small business. We specialize in both for-profit, not-for-profit. So there's a lot of co-op ownership in the utility and telecommunications area. So we got organizational experience in that as well.
Fantastic. So for everyone listening, make sure to check out the company and the link in the description, and visit their LinkedIn and tell them that you saw their interview. So August, share a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, even though maybe you didn't think that you could, and the impact that that person had on you.
Yeah. So, you know what, I would say as a professional employee, I was not a big risk taker. Okay. So I'm not a bet the farm. So I'm a big believer that timing is everything. So you got to make sure that you take that right step. But I think that there was a couple people. It's hard to really say one or two, but the previous CEO of IFN, he came in from a very large organization. His name's Jim Turner. And I learned a lot of large corporate type things from him. And when I told him I was going to do retirement, he sort of told me, he goes, I wonder how long that's going to last. And so I think over the time of talking with him, he's been very encouraging. There's other people, but I can remember when I told him I was going to semi-retire, I know that there was a little chuckle because I like to have things on my plate as well. But
Sure.
that's one example.
What's your biggest learning as a business owner?
I sort of think depending on others, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people that want to get in business that they think they have to be the person that actually does the work. I think it could be a resource issue, it could be a quality of the work issue, but if you're going to scale your business, you really need to have people around you, people like yourself that can actually coach people to help grow that business. And the biggest thing is you don't have to go alone. We set up our company we actually have 4 partners now. So I do not want to have sole ownership. I look for divide and conquer and having equity ownership among a larger group of people.
Fantastic. And how did you navigate yourself through that in terms of deciding to have a partner versus not a partner? I've heard different people we've had on the show talk both ways. So, how did you get to the point of, yep, makes sense to have a business partner, or in your case, 4?
Yeah, well, in the business consulting world that we don't do any type of heavy lifting like engineering work or anything like that. But we focus on business formation or expansion, if there's any type of revenue issues, and those are very unique skill sets. So we have a lot of executives that have not been the CEO, but we also have executives that have they've been CEOs for decades, right? So that skill set is not something that you can hire. And so part of it is we want to have fair equity for our consultants, as well as we want to have fair equity for our partners, and very diverse skill sets. Yeah. So I might be more of the sales and marketing management side, sales operations. We have executive mentoring type, Bud the Boss type things that I'm not going to be that person to handle that.
Yeah, makes sense. Though, August, we know that business success doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us, one of your biggest challenges during the years, and maybe a fellow business owner who came alongside you to help you through it.
So getting into semi-retirement or retirement and doing something new, I think that's the better term. I think there's a lot of different people that I can look to. I think a gentleman that is actually a partner, his name's Bill Bell, and he was a chemist at Eli Lilly for 30 years, and then he retired. And by the way, he retired before he was 60. And so he took a couple years off, and it's sort of like, wow, you got somebody that's in pharma and somebody that's in telecommunication. What are you doing starting a consulting business that's focused in telecom? But what we found was there's a lot of regulatory issues that are similar. There's a lot of compliance. And he actually was a great sounding board. So that partnership relationship. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate. I have people that I've known for 30 years that are now part of not only the ownership structure, but that works with us. So it's not a one-man band here at all. So
fantastic. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. If I was to ask you to pick 3 people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there for the business's growth, who are those people and how they help you?
So I'm probably going to say 4 people, because I'm going to include my parents as 2, but it's really, it's sure. So my dad was self-employed for 42 years. He passed a little bit before COVID, and he had a great life. He was the type of guy that he was my dad, not my best friend. Right. But he was my dad, and he showed me how to operate on a technical level within a business structure. So knowing your business and skill set. My mom actually was the financial arm of that business. So she took care of all the financial structure and that. So you could see the different dynamics that were working as they partnered in their business. And a lot of people don't get out of business unscathed, right? So watching them able to grow their business, raise a family. My siblings are, I have a sibling is CPA. I have a sibling that's got her master's in education. I have a sibling that passed early, so that sort of told me I need to retire a little bit and focus on the personal side of life. But very, very well educated, and I think from a standpoint of doing well for you as well as society. So I give my parents credit. The next person is, I want to say my wife. My wife was a hospice nurse before she retired. And it's tough to come home talking about business problems when you hear what's going on in people's lives. Okay. So keeping a horizontal perspective about what's going on in your business. You know, is this going to matter a year from now, or how you handle that? It's super important. And so, and then the last gentleman, his name's John Vess, and he's from IFN, the company I retired from. And he actually helped me qualify business. Okay, which sounds like a weird skill, but there's a lot of times when you're in business, you have a lot of chit chat conversations with people. And if you don't get into a thinking conversation with your prospect or with your customer, you're really not building value. And he would not work on, a lot of these projects that we got into, it was capital investment. So there was a lot of money that we'd put out in order to build this fiber for the cities or towns. In Indiana, we went through 450 cities, towns, rural communities. So making sure that the businesses there could afford our service as well as it would build out. But he helped me qualify to make money. I mean, it was very interesting. It's clean money and dirty money, and I always tried to focus on clean money. So
that's awesome. I love it. A couple times during this interview, you've talked about balance and enjoying life. And in the intro, I mentioned that one of the things you're proud of is the ability to give back. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing to help the underserved.
So, the underserved, we used to call them indigent, but now we call it underserved. And I'm actually going to age off the board of Jane Pauley Community Health Center, but for about a decade, I've been working on their board and tried to understand how underserved needs healthcare. So you talk about primary care, behavioral health, and dental. And if people have an outreach in their community, a federally qualified health center, if you don't have one in your area, you should really check it out. But people that are underserved can go to these federally qualified health centers and get taken care of from a health perspective. And healthcare, we're going through a lot of transition, but I think it's Lexis de Tocqueville talked about democracy in America, and he talked about health is probably going to be something that you can't have democracy without equality of condition, and that's the health service area. So being on the board, I saw a lot of stories every month of where we made an impact, and I think I was aware that I couldn't do the hands-on within some of these outreach, but I could definitely serve and be a sounding board from a business perspective as well as supporting the mission. The second one is when I got done, and it was probably transition about. I'm really big on education, so we have a lot of question whether or not people should get a formal education. But classic education is sort of transitioning, so I don't necessarily see it going away. But I was an adjunct professor at Anderson University, and then I'm a board on the technologies advisory board for the School of Business and IT at Purdue University Global. So I've been doing that for a few years, and here again, some of this is not heavy lifting, but it's really interesting to see the type of education that people can get online or virtual in today's world. So, yeah.
Wonderful. So as it kind of segues into the next 3 to 5 years, what do you see? The world's changing significantly. What do you see as the biggest challenge that you're going to face in reaching your goals, and who are the types of people you're going to need to solve those?
So, Tim, I think what you are offering people is a high valued service. So a lot of times people can't get out of their own thoughts. So as a business owner, we really need to be able to affiliate with people that can help us elevate our game. So I think as people, if I go to my business, as people retire, especially if they have a unique skill set, either operations or accounting or any type of marketing management, there are the opportunities to do consulting work, and you don't have to get lower wage pay. So how that gets affiliated or associated into the marketplace, we're still sort of small. We only have 13 consultants, but I think that what you're going to see is people, they're going to start wanting to work. It's not a financial issue as much as they want to have high value. And I think it's really about doing high value impact type activity. So how you assimilate to that, I think it's here again, it's about changing. If you need to adjust, you need, as a business owner, you need to say, hey, I really do need help. And I call your type of work is pulling people into the boat. Move their heads a little bit, or they have motivational issues, or they question what they're doing, and they need to have people that can actually help them do action, right? So we're I don't want to say we're unique, but we're in a very small niche. Okay. So I don't do a whole lot of marketing. We don't brand with our clients, but it's also nice because this is not the people that I work with, it's not their career, it's their next phase of life.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad. But I think from a technology perspective, what AI is going to impact the business environment, and some of the tools that are I consider a lot of the software tools free today. And companies are not using these free tools because they're free. There's a mentality that if it's free, I don't want to use it because I'm the product. And I don't think that's quite right. But as far as for us, the challenges the next 3 years is actually just finding reliable, skilled, I don't even want to say retired, semi-retired, or people who want to do something new, that want to monetize their focus. The federal government has a $42 billion grant program coming out in the next, it's announced, but it's going to take another couple of years before the funds get fully developed. But in rural America, as we get more fiber broadband, the education and the skills that these workers are going to need, and the mentoring and the coaching, I think there's an opportunity there as well for us. So it's a balance, the balanced life perspective. Yeah.
I really like what you guys are, you said it a couple of times, but the idea of, as people are getting closer to considering retirement, they can still have a high value position where they can make a difference in the world or in a company and get paid, fairly for it. So the things you're doing it does sound pretty unique and different in terms of, allowing folks who, are later in their years that want to still add value and have a meaningful career, but maybe only want to work 20 hours instead of 50 hours a week.
Yeah. We have consultants that only want to do 5 hours a month. So, our structure is such where if we find a match between a client and a consultant, they might only talk to them, 30 minutes every other week.
Yeah.
Right. So, but on the consultant side, it's nice because there's not a lot of homework. Right. So they can listen, and a lot of times it's been there, done that type. Sure. Regulatory issues, these consultants have regulatory experience that talking decades. And then if it's people, personnel, a lot of CEOs, a lot of executives need confidential. They don't need a friend. They need somebody that they can get a spin on what they should do next. And that's what we try to offer. We're very focused on business formation and expansion within the telecom and utility, renewable energy, and those types of things. And then technology. But technology tends to be younger people. So we have some clients in that space, but they're still not listening to senior seasoned consultants. So that's a unique space, but we hope to expand in that area as well.
Fantastic. Well, last question here, August. Jim Rohn, an incredible business guru, one of his quotes is, "We become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with." So as you reflect on that quote, what advice would you have for business owners who think that they need to do it on their own and aren't willing or don't believe that people will help them if they ask?
So I think it comes back to as much as people think they're relevant, they have to chase things a lot of the time. So if they think that they can go growing a business on their own, I think you need to look at how successful you've been the last 12 months, 24 months. I've been very fortunate because I'm the third son of my family, so I never had to look outside. I could look at my older brother and say, I'm not going to do that. I think, Tim, not to plug you, but as an action coach, people that need your service, it's possible that you find them that it's sort of like, oh, they should have called me 6 months ago, 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'd really encourage people to discover your services earlier rather than later, because in the business cycle, if you're trying to save it, it's maybe too late. Yeah. And then you might need to start a little earlier on some of the actions where you thought you knew, but maybe you don't. Hubris, if I'm saying the word right, is a tough term because people are very confident about their ability. What I find is people don't want to know how much money I have or how successful I've been. They want us to focus in on them, and that's what we do as a consultant. And I'm sure that that's what you're doing as well, and it's sort of like, hey, I'm here to help you, but you at least got to give me a chance. And selling the intangible is very tough.
Indeed. Yeah.
So,
I've also heard folks talk about, their reluctance to just ask other business owners, right? And so, go to a networking event or ask somebody for a cup of coffee. What's been your experience with that as you've reached out to others and, just to ask for their opinion or give you 5 minutes or a cup of coffee to share thoughts?
Oh yeah. I would probably say during my career, I did that a lot because I wanted disparate information. I wanted the plan for the future. If I say it as a baseball analogy, you need to run the bases, and a lot of times you don't know what's happening unless you talk to people in the field. Yeah. So having people that you can have a cup of coffee with or anything like that, I think it's super important. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but
yeah, well, a lot of people I've heard them say, well, I don't know, I don't want to bother August. He's really busy. I'm not going to ask for a cup of coffee. And what are your thoughts on that in terms of,
we have pretty much on our LinkedIn and our website, we actually have a link where you can schedule calls with our consultants. So, we until we got an engagement, we don't really charge for any of that. So if somebody wants to talk to me for 30 minutes or an hour and have a virtual cup of coffee, I'm all about that. I think it's something that it's really tough to know if we identify as people as well as what I can do to help. But there's a lot of unique stuff that we help clients with that you would be like, oh, that's, you don't need to do that. And it's sort of like, well, it's not getting done. And I'm more than happy to sweep the floor for you.
Right.
I'm going to charge you for it, but I'm more happy to help you. But yeah, the virtual coffee, I open to that very much on my site. So.
Fantastic. Well, hey, August, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people who have helped you along your journey. If they were all on the show here today, what would you want to say to them?
You know what? I show gratitude whenever I'm with people. So I think they know, because I'm one of those that if I never saw you again, how would I want you to leave? And I think it's more of if I haven't said that I'm thankful to you, somebody that I've known. But most of the people that I work with, we transcend the work environment. So over the years, and I've worked for tech companies, so, telling somebody they've had 15 jobs over the time of your career, they're sort of like, what's up with that? But I go back to people that I have met in my first job, and I still stay in touch with them. And that's basically about, you got to build the balance in your checkbook with people, and it's not a money, it's a monetary thing in the sense that they'll help you with business and that. But I think at the bottom of the day, it's truly about caring about others and supporting them as well.
Wonderful. August, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Oh, Tim, thank you. And good luck on your business as well.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the year and finish out strong.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show with your host, Coach Tim Campsall. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.